glad, I am glad. Praise be the name of the Lord. For those who don't know me, my name is Wanjiko Ndomo, and I'm privileged to be bringing the Word of God yet again today. And the title of this message is God's Call to Holiness. God's Call to Holiness. I remember I was here last week and I was talking about an area of my life that I was very stiff-necked about, and how I needed to come to a place of surrender, how I needed to come to a place of dying to self, how I needed to come to a place of being faithful to God in my walk with Him. And I want to share a little bit more about this journey that I have been on, because as I began to discard some of these things, as God began to shed light into my life and I began to discard some of these things that were hindering me from knowing God, I started spending more time with God. The thing about not watching movies for 8 hours anymore is that you have 8 hours to spend to do something, isn't it? And so I chose to spend it with God. I chose to dig deep into His Word. I chose to spend time praying. I chose to fellowship and meet with like-minded Christians, fellowship with other believers. I started reading books that were talking about, or rather like biographies of men and women who lived great lives for God in this world, on this earth. And as I did that, my desire for God increased even the more. And in turn, I truly began to experience God's presence in my life. I truly began to experience God's love, the unconditional love in my life, truly experiencing His mercy, His grace, His forgiveness in my life. What happened to me was that the more I experienced God's love, especially God's love, I realized how sinful I was. God's love was able to shed light in my heart, to shed light in my mind, to shed light in my attitudes. Praise be the name of the Lord. And as it did that, it opened my eyes to see how flawed I was, how bitter I was, how jealous I was of other people, how I kept comparing myself to the people that I worked with or my friends who we were the same age, the things they had, the way they lived their lives, what I didn't have and what I do not have. God's love was able to shed light on how selfish I was. God's light was able to shed light on my sin, how proud, how jealous, how dishonest I was. I know we all love Jesus and are going to heaven, but God's love usually compels us. It usually sheds light on us and we begin to see ourselves truly for who we are. Praise be the name of the Lord. God's love revealed the magnitude of my sin, and I was disturbed. I was disturbed at the person that I saw. I had known Jesus. I was walking with Him. Life was good. But I was disturbed because I realized that when I was kind to people, I was kind because I knew that later on I would want to reap from what I am sowing, from the kindness I am sowing. I was jealous of people. All these things were going on around me, but God was blessing me and helping me to grow to be the person that He wants me to be. But I was always looking at someone else and thinking they are better than me. They have this way better than me. They have this better than me. God's love revealed the magnitude of my heart, the magnitude of my sin. And I was disturbed and I wanted out. I remember one time coming across this verse in Matthew chapter 5, verse 29 to 30 that says, "So if your eye, even your good eye, causes you to lust, gouge it out and throw it away. For it is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your hand, even your stronger hand, causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell." These words made sense. I wanted freedom so bad. I wanted God so bad that these words made sense. I wanted to be free. I wanted to live a life that was pleasing to God, free from guilt, free from shame, free from condemnation. I didn't want to just barely live life, just barely make it in life. I didn't want to watch anything else that would cause God to be displeased with me, that would make me suffer some kind of shame, some form of guilt. Of course, I didn't end up cutting my hands off or gouging my eyes out. But what God God's love did is that as it was drawing me to himself, it shed light on those things, and I realized that there were things that I needed to discard. Praise be the name of the Lord. As he was drawing me closer to himself, to a place of knowing him and knowing his purpose, and as he did, he was drawing me to holiness so that I could walk with him, because, my friends, God is holy. Praise be the name of the Lord. Amen. God is holy. The God you know today is very, very holy. Holiness is not something that we like to really talk about in churches these days. We don't like talking about it in Christian circles. It's the same thing when we don't want to talk about purity, when we don't want to talk about, what else? The person of the Holy Spirit. We don't want sermons about sanctification. True or false? We don't want to hear these things. We want to hear about the love of God. The love of God. You know that love that is unconditional? That love that is unwavering? That love that does not change? That is the sermon we always want to hear about. And it's true, God's love is unconditional. God's love is unwavering. God's love is unchanging in our lives. But God is holy. Praise be the name of the Lord. Amen. And he does not dwell with sin. The same God who is love in his eternity does not dwell with sin. Praise be the name of the Lord. Amen. So holiness is not a common thing that we want to talk about. It's the most unpopular topic in churches. Borrowing from Anchor Week 5, it says holiness scares us. There's always something about a person who claims to be holy that threatens us, isn't it? Like that, they make you feel uncomfortable. Are they holy? How are they holy? They make you feel uncomfortable. They make you feel dirty. They make you feel condemned. They make you feel guilty. Only they think they are better than us. Only we don't worship the same God. Every time someone speaks about holiness, we feel threatened. All of a sudden we become so defensive. The less holy we think we are, the farther we want to run away from them. I remember in high school, weekend challenge, CU, Keshas, when you go and you're kneeling down and you're crying out to God, you're lifting up your hands. People called you what? Holy Joe. It was a title that was automatic. Yule Holy Joe, that's Holy Joe, Shiko Holy Joe, Mary Holy Joe. There was a title to those kinds of people. Why? Because we were afraid. They were different than us. They were not like us. They were not conforming like us. They were choosing and setting for themselves a different path. Praise be the name of the Lord. Holiness. This word means sacred, set apart for God. The primary meaning of this word in the Old Testament meant to cut off, to be separate. And therefore, holiness is a cutting off or a separation from what is unclean and a consecration to what is pure. In the New Testament, the word holy is pronounced hagios. I believe this is in the Greek. And it is the same root word for saint or sanctified. I want you to think through those words for a minute. Cut off, separate, consecrated, cut from, set apart. We don't like that, do we? We would rather hear words like fit in, be connected, be a part of. Nokia, connecting people. Safaricom, pamoja twaweza. Isn't that what advertising does? Connecting people, bringing people together, fitting in, be connected, being part. And this desire to fit in, to be part of or connected to others, and what is going on tends to convince us to walk away from holiness because we find the cost way too high. When I walk away from a friendship, I'm thinking this is costing me too much. I would rather just be there. I'll just choose not to call more often. I will choose to just not, text more. Instead of just saying, you know what, this relationship is not heading anywhere, and I'm packing my bags, I'm picking my bags, and I'm left. We don't want to do that. Actually, this is very relevant. You find yourself in a WhatsApp group, but you can't leave. How many WhatsApp groups are you in today that you can't leave because you're afraid groups are you currently in that do not add any value to your life, that do not bring God any kind of praise? Just because we went to primary school together does not mean we no longer believe in the same things. You don't believe in the same things I believe in, so we do not need to be in a WhatsApp group. Praise be the name of the Lord. Amen. And this is not about WhatsApp, but I'm just trying to make you understand that we are a people. God wants us to live a life of being set apart from Him. Praise be the name of the Lord. In our generation, we choose to fit in with people. In our present culture, our generation, rather than being set apart for God. But there's one thing I want us to understand, that God will not change. God will not reduce the measure of His holiness to accommodate our culture today. People don't sit in heaven. Angels don't sit in heaven, and God sits in heaven and goes like, wait, right now it's same-sex marriages, so we need to adjust to the culture of today. That doesn't happen. God is unchanging. He says, I am holy. It does not change with the culture that we are in today. Praise be the name of the Lord. When God says, I am holy, it does not change by what we think or what we feel or what we desire to see happen in our generation. God will not stop loving us or drawing us to Himself. And so we will find ourselves battling guilt, shame, and condemnation because we are here, we know God, we love God, we want to know more of Him, but we are living in a society that has so much going on, and yet we want to know a holy God. Do you see the crisis? We want to know a holy God. He says, you need to get rid of the things that are holding you back in order to go with Him. And so we get frustrated because we want God, we want to know Him and walk with Him. But instead of setting ourselves apart so that we can know Him, setting ourselves apart so that we can grow in Him, we fit right into the culture of our generation, right into people, right into public opinion, right into what is trending now and what is popular. Leviticus chapter 19 verse 2, God speaking for the very first time when He was giving the laws to the children of Israel, He said, you shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, I am holy. He had never revealed His holiness to the children of Israel before, but this time He's taken them away from captivity. He's brought them to the place that He wants them to begin a journey to go with Him, and He reveals Himself. He says, you shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, I am holy. Our God is holy, and He wanted the children of Israel to be holy, not to be as holy as He is, but to be holy because He is, for He is. They were to set themselves apart, speaking about the children of Israel. They were to set themselves apart to live for Him, obeying Him, loving what He loves, seeking to live in the way that He wanted. When He talked about the sacrifices that would be brought to Him, He said, without spot, without blemish. He said, when you go to that land, do not marry from those cultures, do not worship their God. He wanted them to follow what He was saying, what He wanted. But time and time again, the children of Israel failed. They went for what they wanted. They sought to live like their neighbors. They performed, or rather they signed treaties with their neighbors. In Isaiah chapter 57 verse 15, this is what it says. The high and lofty one who lives in eternity, the Holy One says this, I live in the high and holy place with those whose spirits are contrite and humble. I restore the crushed spirit of the humble and revive the courage of those with repentant hearts. I live, the high and lofty one, speaking about God the Father, lives in eternity. The Holy One says this, I live in the high and holy place. When we talk about holiness, it can be about the majesty, the grandness, the God. Praise be the name of the Lord. I can't explain Him. I cannot explain His holiness. Holiness also talks about a place. Moses went to the burning bush. The Lord told him, remove your sandals, for your standing is where? Is holy ground. It talks about a place. It also talks about a code of conduct. It talks about ethical issues. Holiness. He says he is the Holy One, and he lives in the high and holy place with those whose spirits are contrite and humble. God is holy, and he dwells with those who choose to respond to his call and set themselves apart for him. Those who are contrite and are sorry and are repentant of their ways. They are repentant of their sin. They are repentant of their ways, and they are humble and broken, knowing that God can forgive them. God will help them. Praise be the name of the Lord. I like what James says in James chapter 1, verse 13. If you could throw that up on the screen. James chapter 1:13. This is what it says. And remember, when you are being tempted, do not say, God is tempting me. God is never tempted to do wrong, and he never tempts anyone. James emphasizes how holy and pure God is, that he cannot tempt us with sin. He cannot cause us to be dragged away from himself. Praise be the name of the Lord. Jesus walked in this earth, and he was without sin. And that is why in Revelation they say, worthy, worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain, because he was without spot, he was without blemish. He did not sin. God loves us, and because of this love, God will not tempt us or do anything that will draw us or drag us away from him. His desire is for our holiness so that we can dwell with him. Praise be the name of the Lord. And I know that the thought of God's holiness makes us want to hide. We're thinking, wow. And this is an understandable response from an unbeliever. But for a believer, knowing that his love is the one that sheds light to our sin, to our shortcomings, to our transgressions, then we need to draw more to God. His love compels us. The word compel is basically a powerful urge along a line of conduct. It's a powerful urge along a line of conduct. It compels us. The love of God compels us. When we experience this love and His presence, it compels us to want to change. We see ourselves for who we really are, and we desire to walk away from that. Praise be the name of the Lord. What does it mean to be holy? What does it mean to be holy? When God told the children of Israel to be holy in the verse that we read earlier, He was instructing them to be distinct from other nations by giving them specific regulation to govern their lives. Israel was God's chosen nation, and God had set them apart from all other nations. The Israelites were His chosen people. And because they were His special people, they were to live by a different set of rules and standards from how their world was living at that time. The Bible, however, tells us in Romans 11 that we have become the spiritual what? Israel. The church today, the believers today, have become the spiritual Israel. Those who believe in Jesus Christ, we are the spiritual Israel. We are the spiritual Israel and are supposed to live a set-apart life. A set-apart life, living for God according to His will and His desires. Not according to our ways, not according to our culture, not according to our opinion, not according to our feelings, not according to our traditions or our pursuits or our society. We are to be set apart, to be separated, to be cut from. We like saying that we are in this world, but we are not of it. But we live like it. Praise be the name of the Lord. Because the same call is made to us today. In 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 15 and 16, it says, "But just as He who called you is holy, so be holy in all you do, for it is written, be holy because I am holy." It's a repetition of what God said in Leviticus. But this time Peter was talking to the children, to the believers, the new believers. Peter was talking to believers, to the church, and we are the believers today because we are the church. True or false? That we need to be set apart from the world unto the Lord. We need to be living by God's standard, not the world's standard. God is calling us, dear friends, to be distinct, to be cut off, to be separated, to be different. to walk away from the likes and pursuits of this world, of our day, so that we can walk with God and bring him pleasure. That is what God wants from us. He wants us to fellowship with him. And for this to happen, we need to be set apart. We need to be set apart. There's a verse in the Bible that is very, very clear. In 1 Peter, for those who have their Bible, 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 19. We love this verse. When we are talking about prosperity, when you're talking about the nation of Kenya and praying for this nation, when we are talking about the county of Mombasa and praying for this county, we love this verse. It says, but you are not like that, for you are a chosen people. You are a royal priest, a holy nation, God's very own possession. As a result, you can show others the goodness of God, for he called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. But we usually end at God's very own possession. You know, we are God's people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation. The county of Mombasa is God's people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation. It's a feel-good kind of us. We like talking about it when we want to talk about money or prosperity and all these things. But we are the spiritual Israel. When we talk about a royal priesthood, it's people who know God as their Lord and Savior. Praise be the name of the Lord. And a royal priesthood, a holy nation, are people who are of the kingdom of God, do not live like people who are outside the kingdom. There's a way that prince and princesses live in their father's kingdom. There's a way the kingdom in Britain or the kingdom in another country does their things. There's a set of rules and regulations, things that they do. And that is the same for us. But when we live like the world does, we forfeit being a royal priesthood. We forfeit being a holy nation. We forfeit being God's special possessions. But I love part B of this because this is what it says, as a result, that you can show others the goodness of God. For he called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. I don't want to give up my royalty. I don't want to give up. Adam gave it up because of selfishness. He wanted to be like God. He wanted to have the wisdom that God had. Israel gave it up, trying to fit with other nations, making treaties with other nations, living like other nations, worshiping other nations' gods. I don't want us to settle for less than what God wants for us. Praise be the name of the Lord. Let us be a set apart and walk with God in holiness. Holiness is not a standard that we can put on. It is not based on a set of rules, but is living a set apart life. Holiness is a lifestyle. Walking with God and allowing him to strip away what does not please him in your life. Because when you are experiencing God's love, when he's shedding that light into your heart, into your attitudes, into your issues, you are able to be stripped away. You allow him to strip you away of those things. I love this journey that I'm with God because he gets to convict me. He gets to shed light into my life and tell me this area is no. This area you're walking in disobedience. This area you're not walking in the right way. If I wanted to fit in, I'm a 30-year-old something, if I wanted to fit in, I would fit in like everyone else. People are saying, if you're a bit lonely, get a baby. I would get a baby for myself. True or false? Why do I need to pay rent? It is so expensive when I can have someone who will do my rent. Isn't that fitting? Isn't that what our culture is teaching us now? You find a 30-year-old, someone is paying your rent, someone else pays your shopping, someone else is you're always eating someone's lunch. Always. When you leave the office lunchtime, I'm going to have lunch with so-and-so. I'm going to have lunch with so-and-so. I can fit in. It's not that I don't want it. It can make life a bit easier, but it's not the direction that I want to go because my God is holy. Amen. Praise be the name of the Lord. My God is holy, and I refuse to fit in. When I get lonely, I pray. I do, and I tell the Lord. You see, the thing is that God knows us better than anyone else. I tell Lord, you know that I'm going through the valley of the shadow of death right now. You Lord? So it's not a standard that we can put on. It is not based on a set of rules. It is living a set-apart life, walking with God and allowing Him to strip away what does not please us, what does not please Him in our lives. And so God shows me these days, these things daily. He tells me, Shiko, do not walk in this way. Shiko, you're beginning to walk in this way. Shiko, you are smiling with that person, or you're being kind because it's something you want from that person. And little by little, God is stripping away. Why? Because He wants to draw us closer and closer to Himself. So my friends, allow God to work in you, to mold and shape and change and transform you. Praise be the name of the Lord. What causes us not to live holy lives? What causes us not to live holy lives? I have 3 things, but interestingly, they all tie to one thing. There are many things, but they all tie to one thing. Number 1, for those who are taking notes, fear. Fear. It causes us not to live a life of holiness. Fear. Fear that we are not good enough. Fear of what people will say about us. Fear of failure. You know, if I choose this set-apart life, and I say, oh, I'm not going to be doing this, I'm not going to be going to the club, I'm not going to be going to the club, and then one day I find myself in the club, people are going to laugh at me. You know, I don't want to fail. So instead of not wanting to fail, you choose, let me just sit here. You know, let me just sit here. Let me not say anything. Let me not try to live differently. Let me just fit in this way. So my friends, when they call on Friday, we are going out, we are going out. I don't want to say, no, I no longer want to go out. I want to sit at home. I want to praise God. I want to worship God. I want to read His Word. Or if we are going out, can we please go to Java for coffee and not to Bob's? We don't want that. Because we are afraid, you know, one day I might slip up. And then someone will see me at Bob's. How will I explain myself? We are afraid of the unknown. We don't even know if we will ever slip up or not. Fear holds us back from walking in holiness. It holds us back from living a set-apart life. Or we think that our life will be so miserable. My goodness, what is the fun in living a set-apart life? You know, where's the fun? How will I be entertained? How will I know what is going on around me? We are afraid of missing out in all the fun and enjoying life. And we don't realize that the pleasure of being in God's presence is better than the pleasure of sin. The pleasure of sin is always, you're never sure, did I get pregnant or not? Do I need to take a morning after pill? You know, is he putting rice in my drink? Can I go to the washroom and trust him to keep my drink? You know? Am I talking to somebody here? Yes. Am I lying? No. You are in a club. You can't even leave your drink and go to the washroom. You have to go with your drink because you're afraid someone is going to put rice on it. Fear. We don't want to miss out, and so we fit in and say, you know what, this is, you know, we can make this work somehow. My friends, let us not be afraid. Cast this fear aside. Let us cast this fear aside. Oh, you know, if I live a set-apart life, I'm not going to be in this relationship. This person is going to go. He's the one who does this. Is the one who does this. As in the car I am driving is under his name. Give back the keys. Praise be the name of the Lord. Peana funguo za watu. Go with God. God can give you your own car. God can pay your rent. God can do your shopping. Can we stop being afraid? You are so afraid of living a relationship because some dude told you, if you leave me, I will die. Or if you leave me, I will kill myself. Am I talking to somebody? Can we stop fitting in? Can we stop living like the way the world does? Let me talk to the guys, because the girls are looking at me thinking, why are you on this? Let me talk to the guys. You're in an office making bets, and the first one will take her to bed, and the first one will take her out on a date. us stop fitting in. You do not need to prove you're a man. You don't need to.
Amen.
We can already see that you are one. There's a big distinction. My brother, please stand up. There's a big distinction between him and I. Please come and stand here. There's a big distinction. He's even afraid to come. What's your name? There's a big distinction between Brian and I. He wears pants, I wear dresses. He's a man, Ama. Brian, you do not need to prove yourself to your guys. Please have a seat. You don't need to prove yourself. No, you're not chicken. You've just chosen the way of eternal life. Amen. Praise be the name of the Lord. Amen. Fear. Let us not be afraid. Cast the fear aside and choose holiness. Choose to go with God and live a set-apart life for Him. Number 2, rejection. Number 2, rejection. We don't want to be rejected or regarded as weird or strange by the people around us. We don't want people walking away not wanting to be associated with us. We don't want anyone talking behind our backs, and so we settle for the mundane and normal life and for faith, the set-apart life. We don't want to be rejected. We don't want to be rejected. This is where the Bible says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. My mother can forsake me. My father can forsake me. My husband can forsake me. My children can forsake me. But there's only one person who can never forsake or reject me. He says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. He is the only person who you should fear if they try to reject you. But God says, I will never reject you. It is far much more worth to be loved by God, to be near God, as opposed to fearing rejection from people. Praise be the name of the Lord. I'm telling you, people will reject you and then will go. Interestingly, others will come a month from now. You remember the very, very best friend in primary? Is it the same very, very best friend in secondary? Is it the same very, very best friend in high school? In college? No. People are seasonal. They come and go. They accomplish whatever it is that God wants them to accomplish in your life, and they go. So if they reject you, let them reject you. If they speak behind your back, let them speak behind your back. But live a life that is worthy of the calling of God. Praise be the name of the Lord. And number 3, backlash. We do not want to be the subject of attack, backbiting, or discussion. We don't want to be attacked in the office or at home. We don't want to say something on Twitter or Facebook because we are afraid of the backlash. What would they think about me? What would they say? As in, you know the truth. You don't want to write the truth. And so you're saying, let me keep quiet. Somehow the truth will come out. Where will it come out from if you're not sharing the truth? Praise be the name of the Lord. We don't want to be attacked in the office. We don't want to stand for truth in the office. You know that someone is falsifying documents or writing fake receipts, but you're like, it's not my department. It does not concern me. It does concern you. You are the light in this world. You are the city on a hill. No one lights up a lamp and puts it under the what? Under the table. Let us not be afraid of backlash. Let us not be afraid of backlash. All these things have one thing in common. Did you get the common thing? People. People. I remember I was in a C2 a few weeks ago when we were doing the material, the C2 material called Unscripted. And we were asking ourselves, why is it that even now when we know God, that it is possible for God to talk to us and say, Shiko, I want you to go to such a place, or Shiko, I want you to speak to Hamadi, or Shiko, I want you to give to this person. Why is it that most often times we don't walk in obedience? It is because we listen to people. You come in church like this and you're talking to someone and they tell you, God told you to go and talk to pastor. Why? It's like literally they're asking themselves, why would God send you? Why you and not me? People. My friend, it is easy for people to make you miss eternal life. Praise be the name of the Lord. All these things have one thing in common. The way of holiness has one hindrance in common. people. And I know that we can't live without them. We can't go someplace in a monastery and sit there and say that we're going to do life without people. But it is easier for many of us to float downstream. In a river, there's usually dead fish, and dead fish are always swimming downstream. But we need to be a people who are swimming where? Upstream. We need to be a people who are questioning our culture, questioning our generation, questioning the trends, questioning lifestyle, and asking ourselves, is this God's will for me? Is this how God wants me to live? Praise be the name of the Lord. Praise be the name of the Lord. Amen. So then how are we made holy? How can we be made holy? I began by saying that when you experience God's love, and I know each and every one of you has experienced God's love, we just need to allow that love to begin to compel us, shedding light on us, to begin to compel us to walk away from these things and be separated. How are we made holy? Number one, easy peasy, through reading the Word of God. Through reading the Word of God, through digging daily into the Word of God. The psalmist wrote and said, I have hidden your word in my heart that I may not sin against you. There's a preacher who was preaching to some teenagers about music, and he was telling them, the psalmist didn't say, I have hidden joyous celebration in my heart that I may not sin against you. He doesn't say, I have hidden certain rules and standards in my heart so that I do not sin against you. It said, I have hidden your word, your living word in my heart, that I do not sin against you. I love what Hebrews 4 says, for the word of God is alive and active, sharper than any double-edged sword. It penetrates even to the dividing soul and spirit, joints and marrow. It judges the thoughts and attitudes of the heart. And when I read God's word, that is what I find. It judges me. It convicts me of my thoughts, of my attitudes, of the things that I do. And then I tell myself I need to align myself to God's word. Praise be the name of the Lord. That when the Bible says, be ye separated, or when the Bible says, offer yourself as a living sacrifice, then you need to begin meditating on that word and asking the Lord, how do I offer my body as a living sacrifice, pure and pleasing up to you? Because your word says that this is my spiritual act of worship. Let us dig into the word of God. Not just barely reading it or skimming through. Let us allow it to change us, to transform us, to convict us, to judge our thoughts and our attitudes. Praise be the name of the Lord. Number two, living as temples of God's worship. Living as temples of God's worship. This is what it says in 2 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 7. That with promises like this to pull us on, dear friends, let's make a clean break with everything that defiles or distracts us. Let us make a what? A clean break, both within and without. Let's make our entire lives fit and holy temples for the worship of God. That we will offer these bodies as temples of the living God. That we will offer these bodies as temples of the living God. Praise be the name of the Lord. Amen. Romans chapter 12, verse 1. Allow me to read this in the Message translation, because the day I came in contact with Romans 12 in the Message translation, it made so much sense to me because it spoke my language. Not Kikuyu, it's English, huh? So here goes. It says, Romans 12, verse 1 to, I think, verse 3, it says, so here's what I want you to do. God helping you, take your everyday, ordinary life. You're sleeping, you're eating, you're going to work, you are walking around life. I didn't know we had a walking around life. You know, like you're just walking around, nothing much is happening, you're not really thinking about much, or you're just walking, or you're just around. And place it before God as a what? As an offering. Embracing what God does for you is the best thing you can do for Him. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it even without thinking. Don't become so well adjusted to our culture today. Don't be so well adjusted to what is trending today. That when there's a Museveni challenge, I'm seeing you with a seat doing a Museveni challenge. Why? Because it's what's trending. When there's a Matiang'i challenge, I'm finding you doing a Matiang'i challenge because it's what is trending. Let us not be so well adjusted to our our culture? Can we begin to be a people? My goodness, because I believe that God is raising up a new generation from this generation. Can we begin to think through these things that we do? Can we begin to question these things that we do? Praise be the name of the Lord. Let us begin to ask questions. Why I will say very challenge? What will it benefit me? Let us not be so well adjusted to the culture of the day. Praise be the name of the Lord. Number 3, through refusing to conform. Through refusing to conform. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 14, this is what it says. I'm reading the NIV translation. Make every effort to live in peace with everyone and to be holy. Without holiness, no one will see God. I didn't even know that this verse was there. I didn't even know about this verse. But I thank God that He showed it to me. Amen. Praise be the name of the Lord. Yeah. Because now I know that I need to walk in holiness. I need to live in holiness, because without holiness, none of us will see God. None of us will see God. The Bible says, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. His good, pleasing, and perfect will. Do not conform to the patterns of this world. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. As God sheds light into our lives through His love, He shows us things that we need to get rid of, things that we need to walk away from, and He helps us to remove these things from us so that we can go with Him. Praise be the name of the Lord. And finally, number 4, through imitating Christ. We will be holy, we will live holy lives through imitating Christ. That we need to come to a place, or we need to come to God, and by His grace and enablement, imitate Him, because we are made holy as we are conformed to His image. We all know that we are created in the image of God, isn't it? And we are daily, He's growing us into Christ's likeness. And as we continue to allow God's love to work in our lives, we will quickly realize that holiness is a lifestyle, not a conformity to some rules, a set of rules of do's and don'ts. We will realize that we want righteousness. We will realize that we want to be kind. We will realize that we no longer want to be with sin. We will realize that we are sinful, and we will constantly sit in the presence of God saying, God, would you search me? I love King David. Constantly ask God, would you search me? Would you search me? And show any wayward way within me. And when he sinned in Psalm 51, he was quickly to come to God and say, have mercy on me, O God, according to your failing love. Blot out my transgression. Praise be the name of the Lord. Because he knew that he has sinned towards a holy God. God will not dwell with sin. Our culture will change. We may try to fit in, but if we want more of God, if we want to go with God, if we want to live for God, we cannot fit in with our present culture. We have to live lives that are separated. Lives that are separated. Be ye holy because I am holy. Be ye holy for I am holy. I want to conclude by reading John and asking Pastor Monene to come and pray for us. Because this is what it says. I love this verse in John chapter 17, verse 20 to 21. It says, I am praying not only for these disciples, Jesus talking to his Father, but also for all those who will believe in me through this message, through their message. I pray that they will and be one, just as you and I are one. Just as you, the Father, and I are one. Just as you and I are one. As you are in me, Father, and I am in you. That is what Jesus desires of us, so that we are one with him and with the Father. And may they be in us, so that the world will believe you sent me. This is after Jesus was talking about, I have given them your word. Make them holy by showing them your truth. Make them holy by giving them your word. By teaching them your word. He says, and may they be in us also.